Hey, welcome. I'm Martin from In the Garage. Welcome. Let me check the live streaming if it works or not. Actually, it shows live, but it's not make sure 100%. Okay, we're live. So welcome. Here in Game Dev Garage. I'm making games for more than 5 years, and I'm co-founder of Cracker Studio, which is a game development studio founded 3 years ago. And I'm currently developing a framework for our future projects. We made more than 100 hyper-casual games in the last 2 years. Now we want to go for bigger projects. So we are developing 2 games at the same time. Actually, I can show you. It is better. So let me show you our other game. Yes. Is it the trailer? Yeah, my voice will be better now. Yeah. So this is one of our projects, Helcom. The demo will be live in maybe a few days. We already published a Steam page if you want to check it out. This is a co-op zombie survival, bullet hell, whatever you call it. Really great game. And the other one is super secret project right now. And I have another game to show you before I start the coding session. This is Spacecraft. I made this game actually I started to development of this game I think 4 years ago, maybe 5, and I stopped development at some point because of economical reasons. Then I published Steam page, and we have a demo here, and you can wishlist this game. Then my plan is releasing this game before the end of this year, maybe before October, I guess. So these are some plans, and these are some projects. Okay, so this is the summary of my last few years. Today, what will I do in this live stream? Actually, I was coding before started live streaming. Probably I will continue coding my framework projects. Maybe I can tell you about this framework which we will use our next games. Actually, this framework is really rich with like how I say, contentful framework. We started to plan making an isometric RPG shooter adventure game, and I developed this framework to build that, and I think I reached really a good point about this framework. Actually, I am working on this project, this framework, for maybe 5 months. I spend a lot of time on development, but I think it works because maybe I spent more than necessary to make a game like this, but I'm concentrated on making framework because I want to be able to use this code base, same system for future games. We are really serious about making games. So I want to make second, third and fourth projects be easier to make for us. So yeah. So if you have questions or tell something, feel free to write to chat section. Then let's keep going. Yeah, let me show you what implemented before the stream. I'm working on a behavior tree feature on this framework to make AI of any enemies or NPCs. So I just made this one. These nodes. Actually, I have many nodes to be used in the behavior tree. But let me summarize this behavior. First, this first node will find collectibles from the scene in a range of 50 meters. Let me show you. This is the range. I can adjust it. So as an NPC, I want to find it to all collectible objects. These boxes and some baseball bat and pistol is collectible object. After that, goes to collectibles position and collects the object into inventory. We have inventory and all many kind of features required for gameplay. After collecting thing completed, goes to this sequencer, finds the items in the inventory. For example, I have different item types. If I choose inventory item, it'll select all the items in the inventory, but we can choose objects, maybe more specific class of objects, or we can define an asset type directly here. I will describe it later in this video. So let's choose inventory item, and it'll find items in the inventory and repeat this sequence. Move to position of player. Here the black one is our player. This super cool guy. Then all drops all items in front of him, then starts over again. Maybe just hit play to see. I just want to show you the behavior tree at the same time because it's quite interesting to watch. Maybe I can make it a little smaller. Yes. So let's watch the guy. It goes and collects all the items and comes to my position and drops. You can see dropping sequence running here, and it runs until all the stack dropped, then goes collects again. So for example, let's go here. You will find me. He's really serious about this job. Dedication. Drop a little slower, boy. Okay. And it'll collect them again. Yeah, I'm actually quite surprised. because in very simple notes, there are a few notes here, not too much code or nothing. You can define really complex behaviors of a character, an NPC. So I really like this thing. Actually, this is the first time I'm making an AI feature in any of my games. Actually, I will work on spacecraft for maybe 2 or 3 months to complete the content of the game. And I don't know if I can stop myself to make an AI feature like this in this game, in the spacecraft game, because this is really great. Very simple notes works really complex way. Okay, let me help you, because it's a little bit stupid right now. Okay, follow me, bro. Follow me. Yes. Put them here. Yeah, this is it. Normally I code in my right screen, but I'm broadcasting this screen here, so I'll pull my code view here to show you. Mohammed Deyama, did you create all the games using Cocos or did you use Unity? Mohammed, I created spacecraft in Cocos Creator. Let me show you spacecraft at the same time. Actually, I put the link in the description. You can check this game. You can even play the demo from Steam for free right now. I made this game in Cocos Creator. Actually, I'm surprised that the performance of the Cocos Creator about physics, because there are more than 100 physical objects in the game, mostly simultaneously. And in the beginning, I was planning to release this game in mobile, and I did. I actually put demo into Google Play, and I really these engines performance outperformed my expectations. Worked really well on very decent mobile phones. So I'm very happy with these results. But I'm mostly using Unity right now because we worked on many hyper-casual games in the last 2 or 3 years in Cracker Studio. Actually, I can show you our portfolio here. I need to search Cracker Studio. We made almost maybe 150 games, and most of the games are made for publishers, and hyper-casual publishers have their own SDKs made in Unity, so they ask for using Unity. After some time, I really get used to use Unity, and now I prefer it for current projects. But I'm really curious about the last versions of Cocos Creator, because Cocos Creator developed a lot in the last 2 years. I didn't even download the latest versions because of the projects, and I'm really so busy about projects. So I'm really curious about latest versions of Cocos Creator, so I will try them when I was working when I work on spacecraft in a few months later, hopefully. Then I want to continue my tutorials about Cocos Creator, because actually those tutorials are helping people, so I'm I'm really surprised about that. I just leave the channel maybe at 180 followers. Now it is more than 1000. So that shows that kind of tutorials are asked for people, asked from people. So I want to continue a series of tutorials. Maybe I'll make some Unity tutorials, but actually you can look at that kind of perspective. If you learn something to make in Cocos Creator, you can apply it to Unity or vice versa. Because, for example, I have a lot of features I use in this framework. Actually, I already made for spacecraft in Cocos Creator. I just port the code to work in to be able to work in Unity. If you know how to use that engine, probably and mostly they are very similar in many aspects. You can use your own tools in any engine. For example, I made this behavior tree thing in Unity, but actually the core code is my own code, so I can change it to use in Cocos Creator or which engine wants. No, thank you. I have a cup of tea right now. Let me check your chat notes. That's why I'm thinking of switching to Unity. The point is there are not enough tutorials on Cocos, so I looked for Chinese tutorials. Yeah, at some point I also was very similar situation in Cocos, but I was a web developer and I didn't want to learn C# or any other language. I just start to code games, and I already knew JavaScript, and Cocos Creator was supporting JavaScript 100%, and just started with that. You're welcome. Your portfolio looks very good. Unity tutorials would be nice in the future. Thank you, Taner. Hopefully, if I can find time. Actually, I'm planning to make tutorials more generic, not specific to any engine. I find actually there are a lot of game development tutorials, but very few that really shows how to make a game. Actually, maybe I can a little go in depth about what I'm talking about. For example, here I have a main scene in this game, in this framework. I have a main scene and I have dozens of controllers here. Mostly this scene actually just includes controllers or things to manage the game logic or other things, and these scenes, additive scenes, are including the content. You can easily watch a tutorial and understand how to link things together, or how to move a character in a scene, or maybe a collider to move. It is okay, but once you start to making a game, actually the thing is becoming very, very complicated very soon. So you need a very well structured system that manages everything. Actually here, for example, I have main game control, and I referenced all the other controls here to be able to reach from any part of the code. Actually, I make them a little bit globalized. For example, UI control has a canvas inside it and manages all the UI elements. Input control is getting inputs from player, and for example, audio control, section control, game control, whatever. I have a lot of different controllers here. So for example, if you just put all the input control methods inside the player character code, and you will be very strictly coupled with Unity's input commands. For example, if you just want to use mouse, for example, let's see here, just walk around in this game. For example, if you want to direct your character with the mouse, as I'm doing here right now, code works differently, but if you use joystick, it'll be different. Or if it is an NPC and directed by an AI, code will be completely different. So you cannot just code everything inside your character. That kind of methods are really important to let you reuse same code to develop your game. Otherwise, you make a game and it's okay. That's all. You make the game and you cannot use anything from that in another project. So if you cannot reuse a code in your projects, if you don't have your own very useful, very time-saving library, you will end up spending too much time on coding and coding same thing, similar things again and again. So my plan is making a game structure, very maybe not this much complex, but making a game structure on Cocos Creator, Unity, Unreal, whatever engine you are using. I will make tutorials about that. So how we should design our system to be able to extend it and use it very efficient way. Yeah. Let me check the chat again. Viraj. Is Cocos Creator open source? Yes, Cocos Creator is 100% open source. This is really great thing because as I remember in Spacecraft, this game, I made my own save load system in Cocos Creator, and actually it saves every piece of object in the scene. And it saves the position, it saves the animation frame, and physics, speed, joints, and everything. Actually, it has really great code base to develop very different physics games. In that game, when I was making the save load system, I actually modified Cocos Creator's engine code because I just want to define unique IDs for every object in the game. In Spacecraft, all objects have their own ID numbers or IDs, universal IDs, and I'm saving that ID and the data to text file and loading from there. For maybe I have more than 5 planets in this game. Actually, this is something like an open world game, actually open universe game. So you can take an object, move it to another planet and use it in there, and bring something from other planet to another planet. And saving and loading system between these scenes required to modify the engine source code. It helped a lot. I did similar saving and loading system in this framework, but I had to be strictly connected to Unity's system. Let me show you some example here. For example, this object has a save position script on it. Save position scripts actually required for saving the ID of this object. Actually, I can, for example, I can use different kind of scripts to save data in this game, but all of them should be a component attached to an object, and all of them should be derived from my savable class. And that should be a mono behavior. So you cannot arbitrarily set some ID for the game object. You have to put a component on it, and a component should keep the data on itself. In Cocos Creator, I just defined a ID field for all the game objects, all the nodes in the game, and that just worked straightforward. Do you think about preparing new tutorial for Cocos version 3? Yes, Okan, I'm planning. In a few minutes ago I was talking about it, but I'm planning to make more generic tutorials. You can, for example, you can use same idea in Unity or Cocos or Unreal Engine. Doesn't matter. Because I find there are a lot of tutorials telling some specific things, but not much tutorials are talking about how to make a system, how to make a structure to manage all the things in the game. Let me show you some more details about current framework. For example, I have a scene control class here. This class finds the bounds of scenes. Let's load other scenes here to visualize. I just made these scenes to test the system. The scene control bounds collects bounds from open scenes and loads the scene when player gets close to the boundary. Let me show you rather than telling about it. Yeah. Let's hit play and start walking. Oops. Maybe it would be better if I... okay. This is not bad. Let's see. By the way, this is very crowded now. The guy is following me all the time. Let me show you. I'll move through the scene, and this scene is loaded. When I get a little further from the first scene, it's unloaded. Of course, this is going to be off screen, but I made the limit of boundary detection very small to test the system. Let's walk here. You can see we have another scene here. Let's walk there. When I get close, it'll load, and when I get far from the scene will be unloaded. So this is very huge system. Actually, it looks very simple and it looks okay. There's nothing. It looks like there's nothing, anything special here, but actually it's a really complicated system. Maybe I can describe you more. I made a scene bounds class here, and it finds all the objects inside the scene and gets the objects bounds and calculate the scene bound from that. If you have a 3D object, colliders is not required. Just having a 3D object is okay to calculate these bounds. And scene control is collects bounds from these open scenes. And we have a scene bound list here. After that, for example, if you move an object from scene 1 to scene 2, if you unload scene 1, and object will be still in the hierarchy of scene 1. So object will be removed from the game. So you have to handle, for example, if I move these objects here and I unload this scene, everything stops at that moment and calculates which object is where in which object in which scene, and determines if this object inside this scene and not very close to other scene, it removes from there and puts to these scenes hierarchy. For example, this is also looks very simple thing, but it is not. For example, what if the object is exactly the edge of both scenes? So you should think about that kind of situations. Here I just freeze that object if one of the colliding scenes are unloaded. One of not are is unloaded, and unfreeze the object when all the scenes, collided scenes, are loaded, and solve that kind of issues. So I want actually share that kind of experiences because I think these are not easy to achieve. Maybe it's not easy to find tutorials tells about that kind of things. I mean, okay, let me check chat again. I worked on my game for 2 months every day, and I'll release early access soon. It's around 7.5k lines of code. Hey, cool. Yeah, please share with me. Please share with me your game. Oh, Jar, welcome. Welcome, bro. I wanted to mean that there are lots of tutorials about Unity, but most of them are like copy what I did in the scene. What is done and why it is done is generally not clear in most of them. Yes. Yeah. I agree with you 100%. The logic behind them. And actually, most important part is how you bring all the pieces together and keep things not exploding while playing the game. Okay, cool. Let me have a glass of tea for myself, then maybe we can go for a little coding. Okay. So in this game I have an inventory system, and actually all NPCs or players have their own inventory. Let me reset the game data. Yeah, I have an inventory here. I can collect other objects, and for example, I can use an object and it automatically chooses the correct bullet to use with this pistol. I can kill anyone because they are just stupid NPCs. Probably after today they will have some features to attack me like this. I already made, as you can see, I already made collecting or dropping objects from inventory. Maybe I can just drop this bat or bullets or other things. We can also use some chests. We can split stacks, very similar to Valheim. Yeah, I have an inventory system, and actually these NPCs also have inventories. I added collecting or dropping feature to be able to design AI features. Let me remove these unnecessary scenes from here. Yeah, we have NPC and we have its inventory. So here, find items goes to its inventory and finds kind of objects we defined here. For example, if I choose inventory item, it will find all the items and put all the items into a stack, to item stack. And if I choose get first, just gets the first inventory item. So I want to add some nodes, some more nodes to here. Let me take mine. Okay, let me check my nodes. Okay, so I want to add use item and unused item nodes to here. So I can just find the item. I can just put a use item node here after I found an item. Then, for example, if we choose maybe melee weapon item here, we can use that item to hit some opponent or whatever we want. Or if we choose the health item, we can use that health item to regenerate health. Or we can use, maybe if we choose wearable item, for example, like helmet or necklace. These are just example classes for development. For example, we choose helmet, and if we put a use item node here, it will use that item, put on head or what the action the item needs. So I want to add a use item feature. Okay. I have find items here. Oh, sorry. Okay, I will put it like this. Find item works like this. Okay, I will just duplicate the find item class and find item. Duplicate it and use item. Name it as use item. Okay, I'll just rename the class. So first, if we are using an item, it should be an item variable defined in the Blackboard. What I mean is, for example, here we find an inventory item, stacked all items into the item stack. Let's choose get first, and it will be the item current. It will be put into item current variable in the Blackboard. So I want to use item current Blackboard. This is an item entry in the Blackboard. So I will remove the stack variables, and I will remove the find option because we already found it. And I will just remove item type. Maybe later we can combine them together to make a node graph workflow more efficient, but right now I'm just concentrating on making things work right now. I will just remove this part. Item variables, inventory item on update. I will remove almost everything from here and here. Yeah. Okay, now we have an item variables. So inventory item equals, I need to get the item variables value from Blackboard. Blackboard dot get field value inventory item field value. This method pulls the item variable value from Blackboard and casts it as inventory item. So if the item is not null, then we can verify that we have the object is valid. So item is not null. Just use it. Else return state dot failure. And here we're gonna return success. If you don't know, let me describe how the things work on the behavior tree. In behavior trees, we have nodes executed from top to bottom and left to right. Let the Unity compile and okay. For example, here we have a root node. Root node executes the first child. This is the repeat node, and the repeat node has two options: restart on success, restart on failure. A node in behavior tree can be in three different states. One can successful, two can failure, or can be running. You'll understand what I'm talking about. So for example, repeater starts to execute all the children of child of it. The child is the selector node. Selector will just try to run first node. If it fails, tries to second node. Selector's logic is like this. A selector tries to run these nodes, and this is also another repeat node, and this node will repeat only on success. It will not repeat on failure. And repeat node calls the sequencer. Sequencer will try to run this node. If it succeeds, runs the second. If this also succeeds, runs the third. If one of these, or if leftmost node fails, sequencer will fail, will not try to run these other nodes. Actually, this is very logic is very simple, but as in the nature, if you using very simple rules, you can define really complex systems with very small simple nodes, simple elements. So here we have that kind of logic. Let me describe more. It finds collectibles in this range and moves that position and stops before 0.35 meters and collects that object. If this loop fails in some way, if it cannot collect, or if cannot find, or if cannot move, it will be failed, and selector will choose the second part of the method. And this sequencer will find items. Actually, this find node finds items in the inventory, not in the scene, and repeats these nodes here. Move that position, move to position to player, and stacks the. Actually, this is pop item. Yeah, pops item from item stack, which we all defined here, and drops that item. Selects the item, drops the item, selects the item, and drops the item. After these, one of these guys failed. For example, if you don't have any more items, it will fail, and this branch will fail completely. And this time, this branch starts over again. Actually, as you can see, these are very simple rules, but you can define really complex things with these very simple rules. And this is my first experience with behavior tree. I learned this in maybe 3 weeks. I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks. Yes, and I really am impressed. You can very easily define really interesting behaviors here. Yeah. Let's keep going. So here, if we are able to use the item, we'll return success. Otherwise, we are gonna return failure. So I need to remember how that I was using an item in the game. Let me search my code base. So in the character, we have an input. Use input. Sorry, this input is not for inventory items. Actually, use will be triggered by mouse when you hit right mouse button on an inventory item. So maybe we can find something in the inventory item itself. Item, pistol. Yes, this is inventory item. Movable, interactables, interfaces. Okay, we have usable item interface here, and we have use item function here. So let's check where do we use this function. Maybe what if we call this function in a melee weapon item? Inventory screen. Yeah, inventory screen calls use item method here. Click usable use item. Okay, we should provide an actor to usable item by calling use item thing. Okay. Okay, so we have the item here, item as usable item. Let me define a usable item here. Usable item equals item as usable. So if the item is usable, it is not null. Then use it as else we need to fail because it is not a usable item. So we need to report to parent node that we didn't use the item. Use it usable dot use item. Oops, use item, and we need to provide our character control context dot character control. Yes. Hopefully it should work. What do you think? Will it work or not? You can bet about that. Okay, so let's define some logic to use the correct item. Find items, blunt weapon item. Okay, let's find blunt weapon collectible. Okay, so can I define type for collectible objects? Actually, collectible objects only derived from one class. We don't have different collectible objects for different item types. For example, we have a collectible object class here. It links to an item here. Items have their own classes, but collectible objects not. So here, let's just grab all collectibles. Don't worry about blunt object. So the character will already be picking the blunt object here. Blunt weapon object. So find blunt weapon item. Get the first of the found items. Put it into item current. And use it. Use it, bro. Which item current? Yes. So I just want to make it wait because I want to just test. I expect that NPC go collect all the items and collect blunt too and use blunt item. Means holding the blunt weapon in hand. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it worked. Cool, cool. It worked. This is the first time I just hit play and something happened as I expected. Yeah. So you saw that we add just a simple note here. Of course, I coded thousands, maybe more than 100,000 lines of code. But now I can just add very small amount of lines, and it adds really great features on the game. So this is super flexible. I really like the method. I wish I learned this before, but it was impossible. So you have to how can I say, you can't learn until you have to learn it. Really, you can learn, but you will forget it. If you learned it when you really need it, you never forget it and you utilize it in your life. Yeah. So we are live for 57 minutes. We almost finished 1 hour. Thank you for joining me, guys. So let's wrap up things and finish this session. So thank you very much for joining me in this coding session and this live stream. Just please hit subscribe button and just hit the bell to get notifications when I open live stream or publish new videos. And please check links in the description and wishlist our games to support us, and have a great day or night based on your time zone. See you. Bye bye. Thank you.